Okay, let's get into it. Today we're going to trace the life cycle of a marketing claim, following it from, the big flashy headline right down to the quiet details.
And we're using a product called Primo Boost XL as our case study.
Exactly. And just to be absolutely clear right at the top, this is a deep dive into consumer transparency and marketing strategy. This is educational commentary. It is not medical advice.
Right. The product itself is marketed as a male vitality formula for energy, stamina, wellness, the usual stuff.
Okay, so here's the first thing that really jumps out, and it's a big one.
The inconsistency.
The inconsistency. If you, the listener, look this up, you'll see the same name. Primo Boost XL, used for, well, everything.
Right.
Supporting daily energy, focus, sure. But then also nerve health, blood sugar stability, and even ear-related concerns.
And that's the tell. That's the signal.
How so?
Well, those issues are completely unrelated from a biological standpoint. It strongly suggests what we call copy-paste supplement marketing.
Copy-paste marketing. So is that what it sounds like, just copy and pasting ad text?
Pretty much. The sellers often use the exact same advertising template, sometimes even the same ingredient list, for totally different health goals.
So the focus isn't on the product.
No, the focus is on reusing a template to capture search traffic. It really undermines trust because you have no idea what you're actually getting.
Okay, so the marketing is a mess. But what about the ingredients themselves? Maybe there's a more disciplined story there. We see the common ones: maca, ginseng.
Tonkat Ali and L-arginine. Yep, the four usual suspects in this space.
But these are things with some actual scientific investigation behind them, so why should we be so cautious?
Because the gap between basic research and the marketing promise is just immense.
Okay.
So, yes, these ingredients are areas of ongoing research. They may support certain outcomes, but the current science often shows the effects are, modest or very situational.
So it's not a silver bullet.
Not at all. Claiming these herbs will give you some dramatic vitality is like saying a certain tire will guarantee you win a race.
I see. It might help, but only if everything else is perfect.
Exactly. And the promotions prescribe these huge definitive effects without providing any specific research on the actual formula being sold.
So no clinical trials, no dosage details.
Nothing.
All right, let's pivot to quality control. This is where I think a lot of people might get tripped up. I see FDA-registered facilities and GMP certification all over the marketing. That sounds pretty ironclad.
It's designed to sound that way. But
Yeah.
this is a really important distinction for consumers to understand. The FDA does not approve dietary supplements before they go to market.
So what does FDA-registered actually mean then?
It basically means the building is on a list with the FDA. That's it. It is not an endorsement of the product itself.
Wow, okay. And GMP, good manufacturing practices.
Similarly, it means a company should be following quality standards, but without verifiable proof, like publicly shared third-party lab reports.
It's just a marketing tool.
It functions as a marketing tool, yes. It's meant to sound authoritative without providing real transparency.
So to pull this all together, we have a lack of product identity that suggests copy-paste marketing.
You have scientific claims that are highly exaggerated compared to the actual research.
And these quality badges are being used to imply an approval that just isn't there.
Absolutely.
Right.
So as you analyze other products, here's a final thought to mull over.
Okay.
When you're evaluating a supplement, what should be more important? Verifiable, publicly shared third-party lab results.
Or just seeing that the product is listed for sale on a huge retail platform like an Amazon or a Walmart.
That really gets to the heart of consumer due diligence.